You're listening to Experience Imagination, a themed entertainment design podcast presented by Falcons Creative Group. Every episode, we discuss a new topic with a panel of creative professionals. Hi, I'm Meg Perry, President and Chief Creative Officer of Falcons.
Welcome to another episode of Experience Imagination. I'm your host, Audrey DeLong. I love today's topic for a number of reasons. For the first time in our podcasting history, we are getting students involved in the show. It's something we've been talking about doing for some time now. To pull this off, we leveraged Cecil's adjunct instructor status with the University of Central Florida's Themed Experience MFA program, and we got a lot of help from Peter Weiser, who is a professor at UCF and the leader of this new graduate program. We invited students to call in and ask a question about the themed entertainment industry, and then we lined up members of our Falcon staff to answer those questions. This gives us a great opportunity to hear from a wide variety of people with different perspectives and different levels of experience in the industry. Before we get to the main course, though, let's bring in Professor Meg Perry. Hi, Cecil.
Thank you, Audrey.
You're teaching this fall semester, right?
Yes. Oh, it's so rewarding.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's so unique to be in this position. I always felt like there was so much to kind of share in my journey, and Falcons Beyond also has so much to offer. And so when Peter approached me to take on this role, I was both frightened and excited at the same time.
Right.
Because it's a new role, but oftentimes when we come up with a vision and pitch our ideas for an attraction, we're passionate about sharing what we've created. This is different because we're actually sharing our process and methodology and hoping to inspire and teach versus pitch to sell a vision. It's a different thought process, which is exciting.
Well, we're excited to get into the questions, so thanks for helping me tee this one up, Cecil.
You bet.
All right, away we go.
Here we go.
We're here with Nikki Sutterby. So, Nikki, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're looking to do when you graduate.
My background is in studio art, in photography specifically, fine art photography. I'm hoping to be an art director when I graduate. I know that takes some getting to, so I have strong interests in the scenic field, so I'd probably like to start there.
That sounds really great. Nikki, what is your question today?
My question is it better to be a specialist or a generalist in the field?
Okay. So we're here with Rob Wilson, project director. Welcome, Rob.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here.
Let's hear your thoughts.
That's a really interesting question, I think, because I think it applies a little differently when you first start out in an industry versus when you're a little bit more experienced. And I think that question also is a good way to start thinking about, in themed entertainment or in any industry, how you yourself evolve versus how a company itself evolves. And it can be extremely helpful initially when you're young or just starting out as an intern to have some sort of specialization, some kind of specialized knowledge or intrinsic interest of your own that really guides you to doing something on a team, because you'll be in a group in a team environment and you may be the only person in that room at the time that has that special skill or knowledge, and it can be really useful to add value to that team. A business, when it first starts out, can also really benefit from a specialized niche that they can get contracts for and kind of break out into an industry. But the more you broadly kind of diversify your specializations, the more instances you'll find where you really can add value to a lot of different projects, a lot of different clients and environments. For us at Falcons, going from brick and mortar and designs in the entertainment just to taking over the actual media production side and 3D entertainment side of what a lot of the rides and systems that we've designed was a huge kind of paradigm shift in a completely different business model. And even that now is just a small sector of what we do, kind of diversified across our portfolio. So specializations really give you value to add immediately, but generalization gives you longevity and the ability to broadly diversify your specializations.
All right, great. Well, thanks for being here with us, Rob.
Thank you, Audrey. It's wonderful. And I'm hoping that everyone gets a great time out of this new podcast.
We're here with Brittany Porthouse. Brittany, welcome to Experience Imagination. Tell us a little bit about your background and what you hope to do after college.
Hi, thank you for the warm welcome. I am a current first-year MS Themed Experience student at the University of Central Florida. I am hoping to design for either escape rooms or general attraction scenery, and just seeing where that path takes me and possibly returning to academia later.
Okay, what's your question?
As themed experience designers, we may not get a multi-installment series to tell a story. Escape rooms may get an hour, or a dark ride might get several minutes. What advice do you have regarding telling compelling stories with developed characters in a short period of time?
Okay, we're here with Corey Demereaux, who is going to answer Brittany's question. Corey is a creative content strategist with Falcons Beyond. How you doing, Corey?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here.
All right, Corey, you're going to have some great insight for Brittany. Take it away.
For most stories, you kind of have this elevator pitch that's the 30-second version of the story. And when you're dealing with content that measures only in minutes, then you're really not getting that much more time than that. So basically, the simple answer is that you need to focus as much as you can on impact. You want what few minutes you've got to really make a lasting impact and give a really strong impression to your audience. And so that means that your characters can sometimes be caricatures of themselves when you're only getting to see them for a few seconds or a few minutes at a time, but they can leave a very powerful impact, and you want to create a strong emotion in your audience. Most often, that's going to be excitement.
All right, Corey, thanks so much for answering Brittany's question.
Awesome, no problem.
We are here with Brian McCowan, who is actually a former high school physics teacher. He's in the MFA class at UCF, and his skill sets include 3D modeling, project managing, show writing. So, Brian, what question do you have for us?
So in your first episode, you said a successful attraction is one that keeps the original intent throughout the whole process. How do you balance the author's intent with the creativity of your team throughout the project?
All right. We're here with Jen Pritchard, Senior CAD Designer at Falcons. Hello, Jen.
Hey, how you doing?
We're good. Thanks for asking. So Brian had this question. I'm wondering what your response is.
Yeah, so I thought this was a really interesting question. For every project, you want to make sure that you're keeping the client happy while fulfilling the goals you have internally as a design firm and as a team. So I think firsthand, you want to understand what the client wants. Any goals or expectations that they have from the start, make sure you get all the information you need from the client. And then secondly, as you're going through the design process, you want to be really confident in the work that you're producing for the project or for the scope, especially if the design or the direction kind of pushes the creative boundary. If you come up with a different idea that might have been on a different track, but you're feeling really good about this new venture, you want to be really confident in what you present to the client so that they're on board as much as you are on board with this new idea. So I think that's a really good way to keep the intent of what the client wants through the entire project, whether it be an attraction or an entire master plan or any type of project, but have the ability to express your creative freedom as a design firm and as a team.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially for students, to understand a lot of the times the original intent is not in the finished product because that intent changes so many times, and you just have to be flexible.
Exactly. I love working with clients that are just as involved in kind of making sure that this product gets developed or, and really allowing us to have that engagement with the client so that it is kind of a conversation instead of okay, here's what do you think? And they're just like, well, we kind of thought differently. And so I love it when we have a nice conversation and a nice dialogue with the client.
Well, great. Thank you so much for responding to Brian's question, Jen.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We are here with Duncan Macpherson. Hey, Duncan, how are you?
Hi there, I'm doing great, thank you.
All right, Duncan, well, tell us a little bit about your background and what you hope to do after college.
Well, I'm currently in the MFA program over at UCF with Peter Weishar, and my background is primarily in visual art. A lot of what I focus on today is 3D digital design and a little bit of physical miniature model making.
Sounds good. What's your question for us?
As somebody coming in with a pretty wide skill set, I'm a little concerned about getting pigeonholed somewhere along my career and kind of winding up doing the same thing for every project and not getting to shine in some of my other areas. So what's the best suggestion on breaking that mold if you find yourself in that position?
Great. To answer Duncan's question, I'm pleased to be joined by Iona Jost, designer at Falcons. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Let's hear your thoughts about this.
Yeah, so this is something that I personally really relate to. It's just, I don't want to be pigeonholed into something super specific for the rest of my career. So kind of a lot of ways that I've thought about it is if there is another skill that you're super interested in kind of branching out into, it might be worth, bringing up to your supervisor or just kind of, making your coworkers know that, hey, this is something else that I want to try. I don't want to be stuck doing the same thing over and over again. Is there an opportunity that you'd let me try something else? Or if you have kind of downtime in the middle of your projects and things, try looking at learning something new, try kind of looking for an opportunity to kind of help someone else out with something different, just starting to kind of having a feel for other things that you like to do. And if it's something that you're great at or, you can develop more, then great, keep pushing at it. But it's not always bad to be pigeonholed into something. If you're great at a skill, then it's really valuable. It's something that a company would really value. So it's not necessarily always a bad thing, and it's something that you can be proud of and really take and make your own. So I think there's also just many different ways to look at it, that it's not always a bad thing, but if you want to try something else, just keep pushing, look at other opportunities at what you can do. And I don't think it's ever too late to try something new.
Yeah, that's totally true. It's good to hear you say that. You've been at Falcons for a few years now?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5?
Yeah.
So you started as a designer?
Yes, I was an intern.
Okay.
Yes, designer.
So you've been able to branch out, just for personal experience.
Right,
You can actually walk those words.
I have, yeah. I started out, first couple of things I was doing, they had me doing CAD, which is not one of my best skills. I think the CAD team can agree on that. But I said, hey, I can 3D model, I can do a couple other things. So they let me try that. And, I still do CAD on occasion, but I've branched out into other things, and I've kind of taught myself new skills as well. I taught myself a whole new 3D modeling software as well. So that kind of became a new thing that I got into.
That's important to learn the new software that's out there. Programs are constantly advancing.
Right, yeah.
Even if you know the program really well, you still have to keep up with the changes.
Exactly, yeah. New updates and everything. And there's always features and tools that you didn't know about that you find out, and it makes your life easier.
Oh, I know. They're so robust. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's great advice. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right, we have Ryan Cassidy with us now. Ryan, tell us about your background and what you're looking to get into after college.
Yeah, so during my undergraduate years, I was a business major. And then after I graduated college, I was an intern with Walt Disney Imagineering. And then following the end of my internship, I worked with AOA for a little while. And then COVID hit, everyone's favorite. Yeah, it really turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because it truly is probably going to be the last time in my life where, we got to pause and just really think about, what do I want to do in this industry? What do I want my piece of the puzzle to be on a creative project? And that actually led me to this UCF program here, which has been more than I could have hoped for. It's been really, really great. And I'm excited to see the opportunities that it brings about.
Cool. What's your question for us?
My question is, in recent years, it seems that the industry overall has really taken a deep dive into immersion with themed lands such as Galaxy's Edge and Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Pandora. I'm just curious, from here, where do you think the industry will go next in the context of immersion?
All right, we are here with Saham Ali, our Vice President of Technology. Hey, Saham.
Hi, Audrey. How we doing?
All right. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about this.
Blue sky, and we're really excited for it, is aside from having what I would call a one-to-many experience and, just utilizing all the tools available to us to give you a very immersive experience utilizing all your senses. Everything from scenic to smells and lights and colors. The evolution is going to be personalized experience, where you are going to be able to engage with the story, the narrative, the attraction, but that experience, that one time through, will change every time. And not only will it change every time, but it will change based off of your previous experience, or maybe in a small scope, the last attraction you rode, and your outcome from there will drive your outcome or results, or a new imagery and or the flight path, whatever it might be, will be completely unique to what you've done. And I feel like the best way to explain it would be, If we come out of the first attraction and you did great when you were on the gunner seat, and moving on to the next attraction, just because you did great on that gunner seat, you might have powers or levels up that you did not have before because you did great on, right? So now it's like the idea of the gamification of attractions, where your outcomes drive new outcomes.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just passive anymore, it's very active.
Absolutely. And we're talking in the scale of just a single attraction and attraction to attraction, it gets even crazier when you start talking about theme park to theme park or land to land.
Yeah, the ones that Ryan mentioned specifically, Harry Potter and Pandora, they have a well-established audience already. So in some cases, we can establish a new audience for what we're creating. But it's going to be on an even deeper level because we have more control over that particular IP. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, those attractions are amazing by all means, right? The Pandora ride. But it's you are being spoken to along with all your friends as one person. And nobody gets to deviate from that plan. Everyone gets to experience it. And everyone has the same outcome and result, which is great. But moving forward, wouldn't it be great if your experience on the time of these, now imagine if you're actually able to be given the opportunity to fly and choose your own path and your own destiny and have a completely unique result, which that outcome drives the next time you go ride that and how you experience it. And then furthermore, the next attraction altogether, because you did so great on it, maybe the third or fourth attraction at your time at this theme park are completely altered because you did so amazingly well.
All right, great answer, Saham. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
We are here with Carrie Schweiger. Hey, Carrie, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So, Carrie, what is your background, what's your skill set, and what do you hope to do after college?
Well, I've been doing graphic design for about 10 years, but when I heard about themed experience design, I was pretty blown away that that's something people could do. I really love the aspects of being able to tell a story in a physical space, and so I'm going to be looking to do that when I get out of school.
All right, that sounds perfect. So what is your question for us?
If and when AR glasses start going mainstream, do you see a future where these experiences can span entire parks, and would that combine well with Aeon XP?
All right, we're here with Jason Ambler, president of Digital Media. Hey, Jason.
Hi.
So what are your thoughts on that?
You know, we've been very interested in AR since its early inception days and have looked for numerous ways to incorporate AR and have successfully incorporated AR into specific attractions and experiences. And one of the products we had developed specifically for location-based entertainment is our Falcons Vision AR headset. And really that was designed with the intention of having it become a very broad usage type device that someone could take through an entire experience and engage with different touch points throughout. Of course, that would really be a great opportunity for Aeon XP. And for those of you that are listening that may not know what Aeon XP is, it's really a digital ecosystem that's living and breathing that allows for theme park guests or guests of different experiences to engage with various areas and touch points and create a persona and an account that they can continue to build, whether they're inside the venue or at their home. Aeon XP is really a way that we can extend that experience from the doors of the venue and give people an opportunity to engage outside. And so with that, you know, of course, AR, whether that be from guests' personal devices and their mobile phones to handing out specific AR devices to AR-enabled attractions. There's definitely a wide use case that we can see AR being implemented. AR still has, it's in its infancy. It still has a lot of things to overcome as far as how that gets integrated, but it is a very, very exciting technology and one that we are constantly interested in helping evolve and innovate.
All right, Jason. Well, thanks for answering Carrie's question for us.
Of course. Yeah, that was a complicated one to answer, but happy to do it.
Yeah, it's just kind of scratching the surface.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and we're just going to read this one. It was emailed to us. At what stage during a project do you start getting the sound and music assets that you're going to need to finish everything up? Well, to answer this question, we have Rick Morris, our director of sound, with us. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Audrey.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't know, Rick and I, when we work on the podcast, Rick sits across from the table from me. So this is unusual to have him as a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm usually on the other side of the soundboard.
Yeah. You've done a podcast, though. But anyway, we've got this question about sound and music. What do you think about that?
The sooner you get sound involved, the better. And we start from the very kickoff of our project where we have a rough script, and that gives us an idea right off the bat of what style of music we're going to need for it, the sound effects, how much action there is. So what we do is we start with storyboards, and even from that, we do an animatic that is based on the storyboards that sound actually gets involved with at that point. And we start putting temp sound in, temp music. And that can come from inspiration of whoever's directing or whoever the client is that said, hey, I love this soundtrack to this movie, and that would be perfect for this feel. And we'll go off of that and use that inspiration to start putting a temp track together. We do temp dialogue recordings as well, a lot of times mostly with people just inside the studio. Mm-hmm. Some of our people in here actually are pretty talented. And so we use their voices and we drop that in as the dialogue and we put the music in, and that gets us our timings to see what we need to cut in the dialogue, what isn't feeling right, what needs to be changed. But also throughout that animatic, from the very beginning, we're adding sound effects as well, because that really helps with the timing and making sure that scenes have enough breathing room for the action and beats to occur. Then those sound effects will continue to evolve all the way through until final, as more detail is seen in the animation, live action, whatever it might be. And then eventually that gets all locked down. And then at that point we record the real talent, the real voices that are chosen for it. And also we will go ahead and hire the composer. We send him the temp track of the music, and that gives him a complete idea of the whole feel we're looking for. And then he'll create a whole soundtrack based on that feel, the overall emotion, and everything that we've been trying to get out of it with the temp track. And then it goes on there to final mixes and on site from there.
Yeah, that's a great answer, because sometimes we don't even use composers, right?
Occasionally we use, it used to be called needle drop.
Yeah.
I think it's still referred to that sometimes, but licensed music, depending on the budget.
Mm-hmm.
But most of our theme park rides and everything, we almost always use a composer.
Yeah, for good reason.
Yeah, because you get exactly what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks again for that question, and thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
That wraps up this special edition of Experience Imagination. I would like to thank all of the students who submitted their questions: Nikki Sutterby, Brittany Porthouse, Brian McGowan, Duncan Macpherson, Ryan Cassidy, and Carrie Schweiger. And thanks to all of our Falcons who provided their thoughts on these topics. We hope that you, all of our listeners, enjoyed hearing from these students and learned a few new things along the way. We'll be back soon with another episode of Experience Imagination.
This has been Experience Imagination. For more information about this episode's discussion, be sure to visit our blog at falconscreativegroup.com. And don't forget to follow Falcons Creative Group on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.